What's up, everybody? I'm George Mossey. I'm here with Marshana, Dahlia, Spavento. We got 90 Day Fiancé, the podcast. We are discussing episode 12, guys. We're 12 episodes in, and so much has happened. We've seen one couple break up. We've seen one couple that hasn't even met yet. So let's jump right in. We're going to talk about Tarzal. This week, we got the search for the girlfriend continuing. And we actually got a FaceTime call with Minty, and we found out that Hazel does not want to date a Thai girl because of the situation with Minty. So what do you think about that? What do you think about the fact that she refuses to date an entire nationality because of a bad situation with one girl?
I'm sorry, I agree with Hazel. Like, she knows he has an affinity for Thai women. He has said it himself, like he really likes them, and that's why she kind of feels threatened, because it's like if I were to find out that my partner, my husband really is one kind of girl, but I know I'm not that. Like it's hard, right? He
Yeah.
likes Thai girls, but she's not Thai. She's Filipino. So I get it. I get it, There was a one point where I was like screaming at the TV when they had the FaceTime call with Minty, or the video call with Minty, and Minty's like, but why not me? I was like, close the computer. Hazel, close the computer. End this now.
I thought it was very odd that he keeps wanting to bring Minty into their relationship, and he knows the negativity that her name, even mentioning her name, brings into the conversation. So it's very interesting to me, and I think you might be onto something. I think that maybe he is trying to push Minty onto Hazel, knowing that that's not what she wants.
Right.
All right, so let's talk about Andrew
and we lost the video. There we go. You're back.
All right, let's talk about Andrew and Amira. So her dad and Amira and her dad discussed the Serbia plan. Obviously, her dad, who feels the exact same way as everybody else in the world, says, look, this is ridiculous. This isn't even anything that you should be discussing. Andrew does not care about you. He does not care about your safety. But he brought it to the point where he said, if you go to Serbia, I will not talk to you again. I think that's going a little too far. I always feel like you should support people. You should support your children in their decisions, even if you don't agree. So I actually thought that was a little too much.
Okay. Shout out to Amira, though. Her 29th birthday was yesterday. So Amira, you look great. You look beautiful. And happy belated birthday from George and I. I agree with her dad, though. You go, I'm not talking to you again. It's just a threat. Okay, they have such a great relationship. We know he's going to talk to her. But I think he was doing that to let her know just how serious he was. Because like he said, I don't want you to suffer, and I don't want me to suffer as well. Because as a parent, when your child suffers, you suffer, right? Maybe even more so, because they feel it on a different level. And Andrew was absolutely appalling to be like, well, call me and let me know if you want to go to Serbia. She doesn't want to go to Serbia. It shouldn't be either go to Serbia or forsake the relationship. She's not forsaking the relationship. But at some point, when the self-preservation kick in, right, she was the one who had the experience of being detained in Mexico City, which he stayed comfortably in Puerto Vallarta while she was in Mexico City, being detained. Yeah. I mean, she has the right to feel the way she does. And Andrew was being so inconsiderate. It's actually painful.
I agree. So let's talk about the fact that he brought in an immigration attorney to kind of walk them through his plan, which he did get somewhat of approval from the attorney. She didn't advise against. She said that other people have done it successfully. She did not advise him to do it. But her advice was, look, other people have done this and it did work. But my issue was when the lawyer said, look, I would actually suggest that you apply for a extension or a petition to extend the visa. That would be the safest bet. He wanted nothing to do with that. He was not interested in that at all, because that would be a safe thing for Amira. Her safety, her health would be taken care of. And I was just done with him when he was just like, I mean, if you don't want to go to Serbia, then you don't have to go to Serbia. But you could tell by his demeanor.
Yeah, he was definitely pushing her to do something that she was uncomfortable with. And that's the problem. If your partner is uncomfortable with something, I think that needs to be the end of the conversation.
Exactly. And this isn't just like she doesn't want to travel because she doesn't like flying. This is she doesn't want to be detained, put in a prison. treated like she's not human. That isn't even the same situation. It's not like she's like, oh, it's just such a long flight. I don't want to. No, she doesn't want to be locked up against her will. That's not even something to have a conversation about.
Right.
All right, so Natalie and Mike. Let's go to Natalie and Mike, our favorite couple. So there's 3 weeks left before Natalie's visa expires, and I feel like she's getting to the desperation stage because she FaceTimes Svetlana, and she's like, look, I'm 37 years old. She's been married before. She wants to have kids, and she's like, I think it's just time for me to stop dwelling on the past and the negativity and move forward. But I don't know if that's motivated by the fact that there's 3 weeks left and she needs to move along because that's the issue with the visa, or is she really ready to move forward and have kids with Mike? I don't know what her intentions are.
It's definitely motivated by the fact that there's 21, 22 days left in this visa. That's all it's motivated by. Now she's like, oh wait, he's not falling for the tricks that I play when I start drama with him on purpose. That's not working. So let me change tactics. Because she says, oh, if I do this, then I will get my ring. She didn't say I will have Mike. She said I will have the ring. So that to me just lets me know what she's all about. Mike could be anybody. She wants to get married and have a kid. So that's what I saw there. And I'm really honestly over Mike and Natalie. I'm sick and tired of the same thing week in and week out. Please show us something different next week because I am exhausted and I'm ready to move on to the next story because okay.
On that note, let's talk about Rebecca and Zaid. So Rebecca treats Zaid to an overnight stay at a cabin, all with a horse and carriage ride and everything. But obviously, she has an ulterior motive. That is where she wants to get married. She wants to show him the venue, but she got him there, soften him up, put him on a carriage ride to, soften the blow, saying, hey, by the way, we can have a wedding here. Zaid doesn't even want to have a wedding due to COVID. He wants to just go to the courthouse, keep it safe, keep it small. And Rebecca, who's going to have, this will be her 4th wedding, is demanding this huge celebration. And I'm like, I tweeted last night, I was like, at this point, who's actually still showing up to her weddings? Like at this point.
Right. On wedding number 4, who's still showing up? And the horse and carriage bit, the big horse coming out. I'm like, what is this, an episode of The Bachelor? Like, it felt like a Bachelor, like fantasy suite date. I think they did that on my season of The Bachelor when I was on The Bachelor. It wasn't my date, but I wish. But yeah, like it's too much. And then I feel like she's putting all this pressure, like this is the last time I'm gonna get married. That's not Zia's fault that you were married 3 times prior, one of which to a 20-year-old boy from Tunisia. That's not his problem. Like he didn't do that. And I just agree. Like my husband and I were saying yesterday when we were watching this, like, does anyone have Google? She would know because she's dated Muslim men before that Ramadan is a particular time, for Muslims and people, in the faith of Islam, and it's a holy month. It's a holy month. It's not a holy day. It's a holy month. He's right. Let's just keep it simple. Let's just get married. Let's get married before Ramadan because his visa expires apparently 1 week after Ramadan ends. And what does Rebecca think? It's the whole pandemic outside. You cannot have the celebration that you once did. So Team Zaid, Team Zayed, Zied, Team you, not Rebecca.
I agree. I think Rebecca is trying to make this her last hurrah, and she's just using Zied as a placeholder because obviously this is the 4th guy that she's going through this situation with, and she's holding him to some sort of impossible standard. The last 3 guys didn't meet her standard. Why is he going to meet it?
Right. This doesn't make any sense.
None at all. All right, guys, that's part 1. We're going to come back and talk about some more craziness that happened last night. I'm going to put our Twitters and Instagrams at the bottom. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I'm George Mossey. This is Marshana, Dahlia, Spavento, and we'll be back with part 2. And also, please tweet with us every Sunday night, 8 o'clock Central. And I'm sorry, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central. And we live tweet the show every week. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you really soon.